My name is Abbie. I'm deeply passionate about all things wild and have made it my mission to explore and document many of the world's most stunning landscapes through human-powered adventure.
Each quest is totally unique. Some traverse exposed moorlands and rugged mountaintops. Others whiz through bustling market towns and historical cities. They see me dive down deep amongst marine life, follow world-renowned archaeological discoveries, and travel through some of the most tranquil valleys and mystical forests accessible on foot. My goal is always one of discovery and awareness. Getting outside is now more important than ever before, with obesity rates maintaining record highs and mental health issues affecting over 1 in 4 individuals. In building an archive of films, I aim to leave you looking for a challenge, ready to break free from the monotony of everyday life and be inspired by nature enough to want to give back. Ultimately, I want to see you don your adventure boots and spend more time in the wild for the benefit of mental and physical health. I've realised that sometimes you don't have to do something crazy or radical to change how you feel about your life. You just have to get up and get out. I face my own trials with mental ill health and chronic pain, as no doubt you'll see throughout my travels. But alongside building a strong support network, getting outside and taking the time to reconnect with nature has helped me move further along the road of personal discovery. So, here's me inviting you to join me on my adventures as I explore this awe-inspiring planet. There will be hardships along the way, and we're not guaranteed to succeed, but it takes a brave heart and a courageous soul to commit to the unknown. Now all you have to do is decide that you want it more than you are afraid of it. Are you ready? Let's go.
Well folks, just got off the metro at Wallsend. Clues in the name. I'm here for my next adventure. But first we have to find the start. Hey! And look who we found! An innocent traveller, hello! Ah, I'm good, how are you?
Okay.
So, this is Anne. Say hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne. So Anne and I are going to be tackling this adventure together. I haven't actually shared what it is yet, but we need to get to the start and then we'll share where we're going. And Anne has all the good luck charms in the world. Alrighty people, this is inconvenient. The start is shut. We turn around, subtle U-turn, beep, 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 beep. Myself and Anne, say hi Anne.
Hi.
Hi Anne.
Hi.
We are stood outside of Heddon-On-The-Wall Roman fort here at Wallsend in Newcastle, and it's shut. But that doesn't change the fact that this is the beginning of the Hadrian's Wall National Trail. How far is Hadrian's Wall, Anne?
84 miles.
84 miles. How many days are we going to do it in?
6.
I think we can be cheeky. This is why she's my kind of human. 5.5. That counts. No, so I walked this trail back in 2014. It was the first national trail I ever did. Did it with my mum. And basically, the sun was shining down south. I've just come from the Outer Hebrides. Anne's just come from Scotland. We were both sick of the rain. So we've reunited here.
In the sunshine.
In the sunshine to walk the Hadrian's Wall path, 84 miles along this UNESCO World Heritage Site. We've got National Park, we've got triple SIs, there's loads going on, loads to chat about. But the key question is, what are you most excited about?
Tea.
Tea, there you go. I knew that was coming. I love this human. So I like a brew, she likes a brew. Our goal is to just take our time and have
Tea.
Tea. That's TEA, full stop. Wherever possible, and take in the real sights and sounds of this trail. And you might ask, why am I back walking this route? Well, actually, I think it's quite nice sometimes to come back and revisit trails that you did a long time ago. And 2014 feels like a long time ago. I'm old now, you see. 26, man. 26. But anyway, since the fort is shut, we can't show you the sights and sounds here, but this is a quite significant starting point with the remains of Roman baths and markers for many of the men who worked on constructing the Roman wall, as we're going to be following. And there's a really nice statue in there that we also can't get to. So, as I say, rude. Don't start your walk on a Sunday. But with that in mind, it does mean we can crack on, because I've spent the entire morning travelling and Anne has spent the entire morning waiting for me travelling. So we're going to get walking. First day, where are we headed for?
Heddon-On-The-Wall.
Heading on the hill.
Heddon-On-The-Wall.
Heading on the wall, not the hill. Yeah, we've got a youth hostel there. But the key thing is to say for you guys watching is you can follow along on this adventure. So this adventure is in partnership with Hiker, the Hiker app. That's Hiker with 2 I's. And download it. I'm going to be sharing our route as we go along. You can follow and then come and do the route yourself, or any other trail, because the app is designed as a community space to explore different hikes around the world. Wherever you are, you'll find something and you'll get inspired. So download it, follow along. Are you ready? That way, right? Chief Navigation Officer. I don't know where my energy is coming from. Oh, I'm still in Crocs. Maybe I'll just stay in the Crocs. Okay, thumbs up guys if you want me to hike the whole thing in Crocs, because I'm tempted. Well, goodbye Roman fort that actually managed to keep us out. Is that a sign of Rome's continuing strength? I don't know, but there we go.
Anne and I were walking the route east to west, but naturally the trail can be hiked in either direction. It's argued that walking the route the other way round means you have the weather behind you, something we'd come to experience a little bit later into our journey.
So this sign here is the classic National Trail sign, the acorn. That's what we're going to be following for the duration of our journey. The best thing about National Trails is they're usually very well signed. For both of us having just come from Scotland, it's going to be really nice to not be head down obsessing about which direction we have to walk whilst managing bog, whilst surviving the wind and the rain. So we've both used this walk as a motivator to get through the hard times. Oh yeah, look, see, check this out folks. How is this on a Sunday? It's a bit sad. It says this is the gate here saying, I walked Hadrian's Wall, and you can't get in. Let us in. I understand that we haven't walked it yet, but let us in. That's where you get your finishing picture.
I don't know, funny about taking a picture and I've walked it before I've walked it.
I think it's a good omen.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Should I take it?
You should definitely take it.
Joking about the commercialisation of photo opportunities aside, the Roman fort is well worth a visit when actually open. The name means strong fort, and was once home to 600 soldiers who guarded the eastern end of Hadrian's mighty wall. Nowadays, the museum houses the fort foundations and a replica of a Roman bathhouse that once stood nearby.
Okay, so we could definitely extend this hike to Rome, 1,110 miles. Tempting, very tempting. It's sunny there. Oh wait, it's sunny here, we're fine. So today's walk really is going to be pretty level, pretty flat. In fact, National Trails themselves, the organisation, sort of suggests that this walk is one of the easier national trails out there. So it's a really good entry point if you're looking to get into hiking and backpacking. As obviously I've said, it was my first one, and I think for both of us we're looking forward to something a little bit easier, a little bit gentler, and what with all the sights and sounds along the way to take in, it's going to be nice to have the time to do that. City of Newcastle upon Tyne. So I remember standing here back in 2014, and in that last film that I made when I was a lot younger and really posh, I talked a lot about the archaeology, and that's not my intention so much with this film, but to talk about the walk itself, the hiking experience. what does that play out like if you actually come and do this trail. So hopefully it'll be worth you watching both of those films. Please feel free to laugh at how posh I was in the old film, because I just find it hilarious. And hopefully here I can be a bit cooler, a bit more like hip, you know, gangster. Although I did get a belt for my last hike because my trousers were falling down a bit too much. No one wants to see that. God, bikes are scary when you're on foot and in Crocs. You can't run anywhere fast.
I remember seeing bikes.
Big road, this one. Crossing over a few and just following this cycle path and the acorns. How many acorns can we count? So these sign markers that you see sort of along, there you go, Newcastle to North Sea Ferry, mark the national cycle networks that we've got here in the UK. So essentially we've got this
Coast to coast one.
Oh, coast to coast. Oh yeah, it's a sea to sea one. Well spotted. See, Anna's a better eye than I do. So these, across the UK, we've got national cycle networks, which are basically numbers, routes that you can follow all the way up and down, crisscross, round in a circle if you want to, across the country. And whilst we do love our hiking, or I do, I also do like cycling, so it's a good thing when you find one of these. We're comparing packs. No, mine's definitely heavier than that, definitely. Okay. Which is good, because I have all the camera gear. Oh, hi guys. A lot of cyclists, it's good. The worst thing is when you put your pack on and then you forget something on the floor. See, I'm your friend. Don't tell anyone, but I weed in there. This is going on YouTube. So this railway is part of the Blythe and Tyne Railway. Obviously it's disused now because we would be in trouble if it was used, as would everybody else who's utilising it. But it is quite nice actually. It's pretty busy, cyclists, runners, dog walkers. Just that, you know, this is an artery almost for the suburbs to be able to access nature. And you know, Anne and I have been looking for blackberries, Anne in particular, and they're over now. But that's, whether it's a bramble or whatever, a tree, it doesn't matter if it's in an urban area, it's still wild, it's still grown and is impacted by its natural environment. So I think a walk like this, where you're walking through essentially a big old conurbation, is a lot about a mind game. It's a perspective and seeing the things you want to see as you make your way along the disused railway. So you can either look at the barbed fence or the shrubbage. The rose hips, exactly. Oh, God. The only thing is you can't look too far away because you will get run down.
It was amazing how many other hikers we met along this stretch, all heading towards the end of the Hadrian-On-The-Wall hikes. Everyone was so friendly, and it really spoke to why I love the hiking community so much. A common goal that unites us all.
Thanks guys, well done. Well, interestingly, I don't think it really matters. App says go this way, Acorn says go that way. I have an idea. Rock, paper, scissors. On 3, you're left, I'm right. 1, 2, 3. What was I?
I'm left.
I was right.
You're right.
Okay, this way. Oh, okay. Hopefully it joins. Oh no. There's a hiker in the bush over there. Oh, there's an acorn here too. That's controversial. Is she still committing? Yes, she is. I don't know if they do join. They do, okay. Oh man. Anyway, essentially we're following the Hadrian cycleway. There haven't been too many acorns, but the cycleway is a very clear direction as to which way to go, because the cycleway goes along the railway, which goes to the river, which is our walk to the wall. Where did she go? Maybe that was a bad idea. She's gonna get eaten by a bear. Oh no! My friend is in the foliage. It was an accident, I didn't mean it. Oh no. Do I keep going or not? Are you alive? Nothing. She's gone. Can only assume. Do I go forwards or back now? I actually don't know. Okay, fine. Go for a hike, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Ooh, mushrooms. Let's just look at the nice mushrooms. Mushrooms didn't solve my problem. I've lost Anne. She didn't pick out this. She's dead. She's hopeless. Anne! Where are you? Well, it turns out you can get lost on Hadrian's Wall. Okay, I'm going back. There's no way she can get through this impenetrable wall of foliage. Okay, she says she's on the river, so she might have been right, it might have been left. Does that make sense? Nothing makes sense. I lost Anne. This is terrible. This is the junction where it all went wrong. So, Anne went left, now I'm gonna go left. Because right clearly was not right. And I keep telling her to stay put and she's moving, she keeps walking. She has to stay still, otherwise I'm never gonna catch her. Alright, the River Tyne is just down there. Hopefully Anne hasn't got on a boat and sailed away, because I wouldn't put it past her. Down some steps, she said, down some steps. So she must have gone this way. She's got to be down here somewhere, in the forest. I don't remember walking along the river. Ow, oh, ow. Beaten back by nature. Oh. Anne? Anne? Where is she? This is ridiculous. Well, we're on the River Tyne. Ta-da! Massive river that goes through Newcastle. Still lost my friend. Jeez, I thought you'd been eaten by a bear. You just disappeared. Oh, maybe. Can I say I've finished the hike now?
There was another way as well, which we might have got onto the cycle route.
I see, yeah.
It was a bit further down.
At least you're not mauled and bloodied.
Not at all.
Well, rock, paper, scissors.
You lost.
Did you hear that? I lost. Fair point. Noted.
Back on the move again, I could finally take in our surroundings. The 73-mile-long River Tyne has been a scene of major industry for hundreds, if not thousands of years, with the Romans using it to ferry goods and people in and out of Newcastle, and Pons Alias, the main fort within the settlement.
Okay, I'm admitting defeat. I'm putting my boots on. I don't want to defeat. Good one. She's got a good sense of humour. I'm not going to risk destroying. It's that part of my feet that hurt. Everything else, fine and dandy. But of course, 6 days of hiking to do. 5.5 days of hiking to do.
It's quite
Hope time. Is that too far? You'll just be like, no, I'm done here. With a pack. He ain't got nothing on me.
Soggy boots donned, we plodded on along the riverside path, passing St. Peter's Marina, a peaceful place tucked away within the hustle and bustle of the city.
Look at the size of this bridge. It's a massive wooden structure. That's also a good wooden structure, but I'm not going to allow myself to be tempted. Let's go. Just through residential area, it's all a bit fancy-pantsy. Something quite nice about walking through a marina though, so
yeah.
It's not a familiar landscape for myself. I've never been on a sailing yacht. It's all about that. Maybe we should graffiti the bike and put hike.
Yes, we should.
We were most certainly out of our depths, having come from the remote wild lands of Scotland. And yet this urban jungle had plenty to keep us curious. There was history everywhere, and therefore stories. One of my favourite buildings in the area is the Baltic Flour Mill, standing stoic and imposing on the southern banks of the Tyne. Opened in 1950, the mill had a silo capacity of 22,000 tonnes and at its height employed over 300 people. Nowadays, the Baltic is a centre for contemporary art and home to a nesting site for over 200 pairs of kittiwakes, beautiful yet endangered gull that overwinters in the Atlantic.
So we've been following the river and we're passing the Baltic flour mills, this massive sort of Victorian building, and then there's this mixture of rounders of, well, new and old, shall we say. And we've got bridge after bridge after bridge here, and I'm going to see if I can date them all. So bridge number 1, Millennium Bridge, 2002. Super cool, sort of leaf shape almost in my mind. Very, very iconic. We're actually having to work within the parameters of daylight. It's getting on, well no, it's the 2nd of October. I was going to say end of September. It's October, and we're filming and looking at things. Walking is obviously, it's not the fastest sport out there. And now there's a Sunday market, so all hope is lost. We will be arriving in the dark. Next bridge, Sage Tyne Bridge, 1928. Boom. Pretty cool. Going underneath it. Massive structure. Oh no, we've reached the food section. Cover my nose. There's so much nice food to eat. We're never gonna make it. Should we just put our tents up here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next bridge, Swing Bridge, 1876. It's red and it's cool and it's old. History. Next bridge, High Level Bridge, 1849. Boom. It's quite high. That one's a railway bridge as well. Does this make me seem like I like bridges?
Yes.
Next bridge, it's blue. Queen Elizabeth II Bridge, 1981. And that's the metro line there. Penultimate bridge for this stretch, King Edward, 1906. That's a train bridge. And then the last one behind it with the bus going over. Well, tension, you gotta wait. Red Hugh Bridge, 1980. Hang on, I forgot. Wait. 1983. Thanks to the guidebook for the help.
With my bridge experience tour over, we could now focus on the quieter side of life on the Tyne. More specifically, the wildlife. At one time, wildlife struggled here, and the river universally became known as Coaly Tyne, speaking to its pollution levels. But conservation efforts to clean up the area have since seen much wildlife move back into the waters. And it's now home to salmon and freshwater mussels, the banks to otters and voles, and the tidal mudflats to a rich array of wading birds. One only has to slow down and breathe to notice the abundance of life here.
So we've got to follow the main A road for a little bit now, and then we'll drop into Country Park, which is definitely our transition out of urban into countryside a bit more. But it's definitely starting to feel like autumn, chill in the air as the breeze picks up, and the colours of the leaves are giving a lot away. So the A695 is what we're going to be following for a little bit. I have to say, walking along this A road now does make me relieved to finish in Bowness. Quite a quaint, quiet little place, really. Just it's just a bit of a surprise for the senses to suddenly find yourself on a busy road for a few kilometres. When you feel like a wilderness explorer, and then you're like following this artery, it's like, oh yeah, strange. Actually, on that note, I think we have to cross over there and follow a path instead of the main road. Goodbye road. Hello, mysterious path. Hey, look at that! It's a proper flag. Boom! It's actually going to be quite a different experience doing this hike today or for the next week, because I'm so used to hiking solo, and there's a very big difference between hiking solo and hiking with somebody. and I think there's definitely pros and cons to each. And I'm on this trail in particular just really looking forward to having their company. Hopefully there can be lots of cafe stops and breathing spaces, because I think as you get onto these longer trails and you have harder itineraries, the walking can actually really become quite stressful and pressurized, because you're trying to get big miles in, shoot a film, yada yada yada, and you stop having fun. And definitely for me, my intention with this walk is just to have fun, just regroup in a sense of who I am again, and just enjoy, hopefully, some really quite inspiring landscapes. Blinded by the light.
Yeah.
Can I say hi?
Yeah. Say hello.
Hey, Peppy! You're so fluffy. What breed?
Keeps eating apples. Collie standard poodle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's just forever trying to eat apples like that.
Definitely starting to feel the randomness of the route. Popping out above the A road now.
Soon, we pass by the rather emotional Yesterday, Today, Forever sculpture in remembrance of the 38 men and boys who were killed in the Montague View pit flooding disaster on the 30th of March 1925. Next up though was the Newcastle Blue Star football pitch, followed by a chimney from old glassworks.
Apple. It is a plum coloured apple. Woo!
Nice.
That's so nice. Oh, why are they all so high up? Oh, it's the A1. There won't be any lorries on a Sunday to get them to toot. Toot toot. Hi, Kinsley. Are you a good boy? Yes, ma'am, I'm a good boy. Do you have any cookies? Oh, thanks for letting us say hi.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye. More bridges. Honestly, guys, I don't have some weird bridge fetish. It's pretty much the only thing that's happening to show you. What do you mean, yes, I do?
It was really feeling as though we were leaving the hustle and bustle of the city behind as we picked up the Tyne again. The sun was dipping low in the sky, and we were treated to a sunset of sorts.
Amateur rowing club there. Brings back memories for me.
As if proof of our great urban escape, we next hit the Tyne Riverside Country Park, a lovely wooded area boasting an outdoor gym, playground and a monument to the Battle of Newburn Ford War in 1640, a religion-inspired battle that took place prior to the English Civil War.
Well, we've sort of pulled away from the river a little bit now into the countryside, and it's weird how stuff's slowly coming back to me. But I remember, well, first of all, this is the first actual Hadrian's-Wall path sign that we've seen. And then I remember this cycleway because it was in the morning and it was dark and mysterious. So it's very strange walking in the shadow of your past. I'm kind of enjoying it, but we're only one day in.
Are you dead yet?
Are you dead? So it's really getting dark very quickly now. It's just gone 7. So we just stopped and got our head torches out. And we'll get this last stretch done in the waning light. Heddon-On-The-Wall, 1 3/4. What is it? What is that? Hello? Hello?
Scary monster.
Woo! Glistening lights of Heddon-On-The-Wall up there. Nice, beautiful sky again. It's gonna be a cold night tonight, though. So we're actually in a golf course now, which is a navigational carnage experience usually in the dark. But thankfully we are really picking up the signs quite well. I mean, there's plenty of them. This one here, for example, and then there's this hiker that seems to be following me around. Through the woods we go. Not that you can see anything. Hadrian's Wall goes that way, and we're going this way. So we are going to miss Heddon-On-The-Wall tonight, but it's no problem. Do we have the same torch?
Sorry?
We have the same torch?
Yeah.
No way. What?
Peter bought me this.
That's amazing. Horton North Farm, this is us. Here. Just us, Anne.
Just us apparently.
Yeah. High five, day one done.
We've done it.
We did it. That was great. Right, let's get these stinky boots off and make ourselves a brew, shall we?
They have got pancakes with maples.
Pancakes? I'm having pancakes for breakfast. Woo! Pancake dance. I don't feel like I can move my feet up.
It'll be that.
I have a gift for you. Do you like these? You do like them?
Do you like these?
Winning. Have it with your brew. So for tonight's evening meal, I'm breaking into a tent meal packet. So tonight it is a Thai green curry. So one thing I love about tent meals is, as you can see, it's just whole ingredients. So with these bigger ones, what I tend to do is empty them into a bag like this, shake it all up, and then just take half, and then usually have half a portion each day, just because I don't feel like I need 800 calories right now. With 400, we'll be doing just fine. Looks like soup. I put too much water in it, but it tastes pretty good. This is the life. Look at the sky. Isn't that an amazing way to start the day? Look at that, expertly done. First night on the way, done. Here. How did you sleep, Anne?
I slept very well, thank you.
Very well, thank you. Good, good. I didn't snore too much.
You didn't snore, no.
Woo!
Not as I heard.
Good. Heddon-On-The-Wall. Should we go find the wall?
Should we find a wall? Why not?
Why not? Just feel a bit weird backtracking, actually. I feel like I'm being very official about this situation. Mainly because there's a spa in town, so it's actually really worth noting that this little spa here in the petrol station, with a Costa apparently, is the last proper supermarket space until Carlisle. So it's time for me just to grab a couple of resupplies and then we'll go and find the wall. So in case you're wondering, I bought some smash, just mashed potato powdered that you add water in, it makes mashed potato. I said to the cashier, I'm like, I can't believe in the backpacking world this counts as food. Anyway, where's the wall? So talking to the host from last night, she says a lot of people just miss this stretch of wall, and for us we've backtracked to it because it feels very significant to check out the first little blob of it, especially when there's so little of it around. Hadrian's Wall country, Heddon-On-The-Wall. You are here, so obviously we've walked from Wallsend here, and we're going to continue on all the way along the wall here. So Chollerford's the goal for today, and then I can't remember the rest of the itinerary, but Solway Firth, coast to coast, pretty good, eh? Here you go, look, first stretch of wall, UNESCO World Heritage Site. Boom, that's quite fulfilling, isn't it? Should we go and take a look? So there really isn't a lot of wall to be seen on this hike, as you're going to find out through this film. So we had to make the most of this experience and come and check it out. Lots of planes going over here. Modern versus historical. Welcome to the wall. Today we are going to be following the proper length of the wall. This is the military road, which actually the B road goes along, and this is the famous vallum, the big dip that they had alongside, another defensive scheme, so you'd have to drop down to get back up, and we're going to see plenty of evidence of the vallum today. And this guy looks pretty serious, don't you think? He didn't get pancakes for breakfast like we did.
This short section of wall is a fantastic example of what's known as the Broad Wall. When soldiers first began building the wall, it was originally 3 metres wide. However, it didn't take too long for reality to set in, and soon the wall was narrowed to 2.4 metres wide, or even less, in order to speed up its construction and reduce the cost.
just being here actually is definitely switching on my archaeology brain. It makes me really excited to actually be able to touch the very rocks that Roman soldiers have carried. The fact that this has stood against the weather and the time, and people taking it for building materials, wars and battles. It wasn't built like by slaves like people think. It was built by soldiers, qualified builders and architects. And oh man, just the feeling of walking in the footsteps of almost ancestors, or at least history, definitely gets me excited. Anyway, we don't want to go that way. I want to walk along it, but the path's that way, so let's go. Back on the way! Way! So remember on the depiction earlier at the wall, said about the vallum, this is it. This is what remains of it. Big old ditch that we're going to be following. And this B road here is the B road we're going to be following today, thankfully not just on a pavement. And this actually follows the original line of the wall itself. So we're as close to being on the wall as possible.
Stone, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. A lot of the current dry stone walls are built from Hadrian's wall, literally.
Yeah.
Then we've got the vallum, so, you know, again, you having that archaeological interest means that walking along a casual B road on a Monday morning is actually rather interesting. Back over the A road. Now we have lorries because it's a Monday. Hey, you waved. It's always good fun when someone waves back. I feel like I'm going to be safer to go not over the stile. Oh, that's close, that is. Oh, and it's cold and wet. Help! Hold on. Yeah.
Then we had to walk back
There it is, a lot of road noise here. It'd be nice to get away from the A road, I think. Rolling green hills. So this is Vindabala, essentially this field. You can see it was actually a very extensive Roman camp, but it's been pillaged when they were building the military road, which is along the B road now, and this is all that remains. A grassy field next to a farm where someone's clearly chopping logs. So sometimes history does require a wee bit of imagination. It looks like a dragon.
So far, the day's walking had been, well, nice. In a way, I found myself preferring the adventure through Newcastle than the endless green fields, but maybe that's just because the former had plenty of snacks for sale. Regardless, it was pleasant enough. There were cows and wildflowers and plenty of birds to look out for, and every so often we'd stop and look up and admire the view. Despite feeling rather flat, it was easy to see that we were slowly gaining some elevation.
So this is a bit different to what you'd see on the moorland. Erosion control to help protect archaeology. Do not walk in single file and avoid walking on the lines where it's actually already marked. So usually the recommendation on the moors, for example, is to stick to the path, to know that that stretch is kind of sacrificed, and that's kind of that. Whereas here it's the opposite. They'd rather cover a lot more ground and have the wear a little bit less. And then we've just got lots of nice views over Hexham and all around the green rolling hills. Living on this road, it's really fast and there's big trucks, and we'll see a bit further up a walker actually was killed on this road, and there's a memorial to him. Very, very sad. Up and over. Hey, we conquered the Roman wall. We got over it.
Gone to the wrong side though.
Oh no,
Well, to the Scottish side.
Yeah, but that's the right side.
Is it?
Land of freedom. We've got the lake here, little nature reserve. Let's go and have a look in the hide. Hopefully not disturbing anybody. Look, red squirrels can be found here, and otters. 2 of the very coolest mammals around. So we stopped so I could inhale some cashews. And now I wish I wasn't in this building because it's rather torturous. There are spiders everywhere. How many can you count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And let's not even talk about looking up here because we're gonna die, Anne.
They're like baby spiders in all those fluffy...
Oh! No! Survived. That was terrifying. Anne's made many new friends though. Don't touch the thing, they're all over it.
They're everywhere, aren't they? Don't disturb them.
Of course not, because they'll kill you.
Joking aside, this was actually a pretty important local wildlife spot. Whittledean Reservoir attracts an array of bird life year round, and for people, the reservoir pumps 25 million gallons of water a day for drinking water. Pretty impressive for such a tiny looking puddle. It was definitely an illusion though. Looking on the map, you could see just how big this system was.
Ay, ay, ay. That road, man, it's so fast. It's a bit scary. Jeez. They put their feet down, man. It's intimidating. So on the note of scary fast road, this is the Robin Hood Inn, bar and restaurant. I have something to show you. Just in the corner of the car park. Rob Mills, 5th of June 2010. He was hiking the trail and he was hit by a car and he died. Just like we are. So sad. So yeah, exercise caution when pootling around on the B road. Let's get off this road. Hey, Ozzy. Are you having some brunch? Actually, it is lunchtime, isn't it? So along the route, we're obviously following the wall. There's mile castles, which are along the Roman mile, which is about slightly less than a current day mile. And they're all marked on the map. Mile Castle, 1946, whatever it is. And it's not like that often there's anything to see, but this is where they were. And the soldiers would stand, keeping an eye out for people from Scotland, the north, coming down to invade. Very hard to imagine right now with the lorries thundering past. And this is the reality of modern day life. No wars here. We're very privileged. Hey, Anne. She thinks it's a bench. You rock! The thing I'm enjoying the most about today is not the lorries, but the sky. It's just so interesting. I mean, this section here looks like a piece of artwork. Someone's just got brush strokes. It's really, really nice.
I can't even begin to pretend that I was enjoying being alongside this road. The noise was relentless, and the path slow as we crisscrossed this way and that and tackled an endless series of stiles. We endeavoured to stay entertained, and I was thankful for Anne's joyous company. No matter how challenging things got, she always seemed to look on the bright side of life.
A few lumps and bumps in the landscape here, so it goes up and down and up. Not sure if that's to do with the wall or not, but it's a feature. So even though this isn't particularly obvious, the Valum around this region, there are parts of it where I said that if you ride a horse down through the middle of it, you can't still see out even sat on the horse. That's pretty deep, hey? I mean, unless it's a Shetland pony. In that case, I'm not impressed. So many of these styles. We're avoiding the road, but we're gaining some elevation, people. Also, you should swap legs because otherwise you just end up with one really pumped leg the whole time. Just walk around in circles like this. So we're hitting up the roundabout on the road here, on the A road, B road, this road, and hopefully on it there's a cafe. We're going to take a little breather, grab a brew hopefully, and then get cracking to Chollerford. Hey look, Bowness, 59 miles to go. Oh brilliant, we're nearly there. Anyway, there's the cafe. There we go, look at that.
This miraculous looking building was Errington Coffee House, which became a great motivator on our day's walk. It was a convenient breakpoint too, with a delicious menu and overwhelming display of epic cakes to dive into. Let's just say we ended up pausing here a little bit longer than originally planned. It was all just too tempting.
Well, cheers, Anne, to our journey so far.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. The teapot, come clink it. Oh, it's hot actually.
I bet.
Thank you. Here you go, back on the way, up and over. And just in case we're not sure, we follow the direction of the arrow. So whilst we were in there, it just started raining, and we looked at the forecast for the next sort of 4 or 5 days. It's going to be a wet walk, unfortunately. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. We'll see what we can make of it. And so long as we can see, we still can have a good time, you know? Up and over the next one. So many of these. We should have counted. Oh, so you go down backwards. Very mature. Like the cheese you eat. Mature. Anne went for gay, I went for style. That's telling me something about my ego. Taking the view from up here. Very nice. What happened, Anne?
Temporary diversion.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, do we trust it?
I don't know.
Temporary diversion.
These are kids going in the same direction.
Once again, look at this sky. It is just stunning. Big, open, vast, beautiful. Very, very nice indeed. So the main path is over there by the road. This is actually quite a nice diversion. A little bit more heathy in terms of the environment. You see the reeds and things. Sort of the silver birch plantation here. Feels a little bit more wild, shall we say. Really very special section. Suddenly just so different from the rural that we've just had. And do you remember how we met? How did we meet?
We were meeting on the Cleveland Way.
Yeah, and
Or
the
the
coast to coast. And what was I doing when you walked up to me?
Eating
What was I eating, Anne?
berries.
Bilberries. And we've just found bilberries. One of my all-time favourite things.
And we ate them.
Yeah.
And we went on that walk in
And they are just
watery.
about okay in the season. I mean, they're normally like end of July. It's beginning of October, but that was a big one and I lost it.
They're
That's
a
sad.
bit watery.
3, 2, 1. They are a bit. Still. So this is where it would have come out. Possibly it's because of loads of trees down there. You can see them.
Storm Arwen.
Yeah. Port Gate, that's where that was, that massive gate. Well, fair enough. That was a nice detour. Back onto the road and therefore onto the way, all the way to Chollerford. You can see how interesting it is with the land. It's just suddenly no longer urban, very, very open space. I feel like we've got some good elevation up here. And you can tell because the views are absolutely fantastic. It's a very, very rewarding spot to be on. So we're back alongside the Vallum again. Definitely got a good shape to it now. We'll stay up here though. Get easier going underfoot. No, honestly, look at this. This is where you understand what they're saying, being on horseback and you still can't see out because it's so deep. Really good example. And you know, at times this would have been filled with sharpened stakes to really just put people off. They cover it with turf, try and hide it, and then obviously you've got the water scale as well. I mean, these Romans, they meant business when it came to "you shall not pass." We're coming off path just slightly in this sheep field because this is where the Battle of Heavenfield took place, and there's St Oswald's Church here, the 7th century saint, commemorating his life and his involvement in the region. So let's go and take a closer look. Just surrounded by these massive trees here.
The church was really quite beautiful and had a wonderful ambience of peace around it. It actually marks the end of the St Oswald's Way, a 97-mile hike, linking all of the places associated with St Oswald himself, who was the king of Northumbria from 634 until his death in 641.
Well, this is cool. We're into the last few kilometres to Chollerford, and we've come across an exceptionally random piece of Hadrian's Wall. And straight away we can see it's definitely a lot narrower than the stretch we saw this morning. So it's almost like today is shouldered by the wall having a physical presence, which is super nice. But look at this, once again, just phenomenal construction. Looking out over the lands, I mean, you can really understand why they have chosen this strategic point. Good views in all directions.
This place was Plane Trees, a 204-metre stretch of wall that remains largely due to the efforts of William Hutton, who spoke up for its protection after workmen were seen taking stones from the wall to use as raw building materials. For Anne and I, this was also the last stretch of broad wall that we would see on our Hadrian's Wall adventure.
Here we go, dropping down into Chollerford. Half a mile to go. Just about to cross over the 18th century bridge. It's got 5 arches. Not that we're going to be able to see them because we're going over it, not under it. Let's take a closer look. Beautiful. Nice weir over there as well. This is the Riverside Cafe, and we're hoping our campsite's going to be just beyond it, / around the back.
Does it splash up there?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't need to worry about anyone else, do we?
No.
Day 2 done, just in time for it to get dark. We are really playing with the daylight on this trip, actually. Well, tent is up and time to get some food in the system. It's just gone 7 PM, so it's going to be a good 12 hours in the tent, but I mean, that's the beauty of sort of having a campsite, is you can mooch about a little bit. There's charging sockets and stuff, so we can keep on top of things. But yeah, it's nice to actually be back on the grounds. The saddest thing is the weather for the next few days is looking like it's going to be a bit of a washout, but we'll take whatever comes, do our best, and it affects the filming, but we will still march on through no matter what. And tomorrow we actually gain some elevation, which is going to be exciting. Change the muscle group a little bit from flat walking. So plenty to dwell on overnight and prepare ourselves ready for tomorrow. First up, this is what I purchased in the Spa this morning. I've got my smash. Morning everybody, got a brew on the go. Just taking in the fantastic skies. But the clouds are moving in and the winds are definitely picking up. They picked up in the night. So today is definitely going to be an adventure. Are you ready for day 3?
I am.
Let's go!
2.5.
2.5? Oh, alright. We've done enough miles for it to be 3 days. Well, day 3. It's a pretty blustery day. There's a weather warning for wind today and tomorrow. but I think we're going to be just fine so long as we stay upright.
A short stretch of walking later, and we pass by Chester's Roman fort, one of 15 built along the length of the wall. At one point, it would have been home to a 500-man cavalry unit, though sadly we weren't able to take in the scale of the place as the museum was shut as we travelled on by, a situation we'd grow familiar with on our adventure. Truthfully, we didn't expect to be able to visit too many places along our walk, as touring all of the museums makes for a really slow hike. If you do want to visit places en route, we strongly recommend giving yourself a good week at least to walk the length of the wall.
Here we are. Let the styles begin. Feels a bit like this leg we're just working around this massive estate, which is pretty well kept. Seems all a bit fancy. So it's good today, feeling the undulations ever so slightly more than the last couple of flat days. But we can see the first stretch of wall for the day up ahead, and just really looking forward to following it for the duration of today's walk. It's going to come and go, and we'll see different variations of the wall for different time periods where it's been built and reconstructed and torn down. So let's see what we can find. Also, check this out. First Northumberland National Park sign. So officially in the national park boundaries now. Super.
Reaching the national park boundary felt like a real milestone, and we were almost instantly rewarded with a new stretch of wall.
So this is Black Cart's wall. It's excavated. We can see its full-on width. The remains of a turret mile castle as well. A bit further up, it's not fully excavated. So it's really nice being able to see it here in its full, well, third glory.
I found it absolutely fascinating to walk beside this once imposing structure. The fact that it took 1,500 men 6 years to build, only to be left to crumble and decay, really baffled my mind. And yet I was grateful to John Clayton, who, in the late 19th century, bought 4 of the wall forts and many sections of the wall to protect it, for hikers like me and Anne to come and explore.
Turret 29A, we've got a depiction here of what it will look like. The ladder going up as well. With the wind picking up, I can imagine there were times it wasn't very fun being a soldier up here. Are you okay?
We're fine.
Good. Okay, we have a trig point here, 250 meters, and really it's here that marks the northernmost point of the Roman Empire. The wall kind of comes up like this, and then it does a V, and this is where we stood. This is as far as they got during the times of their occupation. This would have been the land to the north, and you'd stand here on the wall looking out as far north as you can get on the Roman Empire. It's pretty cool actually. So this is just a farm wall, but these again are actually Hadrian wall stones, just pillaged from the wall itself. Rain is coming across there now. Might be time to button down the hatches. So my guidebook suggests coming into this ditch to see evidence of Roman work on the stones. I thought we'd come and have a quick look, see if we can spot any ourselves. Oh yeah, look at that. Just chipped away there. In fact, look at a lot of this is very natural, man-madely cut. Wow.
This rock is whinstone, a super hard basalt stone. Evidence suggests that the Romans quickly realised working with this stone was a real waste of time and effort, so they left the blocks where they were and moved on to find other raw materials.
Sadly, the rain is just beginning. Not too much right now, but it's best to act before it becomes too much. waterproof cover protecting rucksack, and I have just put my waterproof trousers on, but I've rolled them up and I'm unzipping the sides because it's really not very cold for me, and this just means I can be ventilated until it gets a bit too heavy. Crossed over the road. It's really nice walking today. Obviously we can and can't see a fair distance, but the thing we found when we did the trail back in 2014 is it was really difficult to actually take your time to see all of the Roman sites whilst having to stick to an itinerary. So we actually came back and sort of redid Chester's, Halsteads, all of these places we're passing today. So today we are going to go past them, but they were worth visiting if you got time at another point. Best thing about this place is there's a coffee van, and we're out of season, so it's fantastic that it's there. We are going to get something. Morning. We will be taking some warm drinks.
Yeah, we'll be in for a tough day.
It looks like it's going to be a wet one.
It's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
50-mile-an-hour winds, horizontal rain.
Shame. And tomorrow, hey? What is happening here without me? Oh my gosh, look at that. They're going to be eaten.
Yeah.
We sheltered in the VIP lounge, essentially a towel thrown over the 2 back doors, and found it rather tricky to get moving after stopping with a warm brew.
Thank you, coffee van. Well, we've watched the rain for probably far too long and have officially decided it is time to move. So wet packs on and let's go do some hiking. So this here is broccolita. It's not Italian, although it is Italian actually. You can see they're sort of restoring the dry stone walls here. 5% of Northumberland National Park is covered in ancient bogs and mires, which are excellent carbon stores and natural sponges at times of heavy rainfall. So sowing shields, this is essentially the point where we start to go up over the sill 3 miles away.
One time, do put the hood up, it does shelter my glasses.
So we're just walking along, and the Valum is really getting quite intense now again, that iconic depth to it, and essentially we are on the wall again. The rain sort of just comes and goes, but it's definitely not been too intense, nothing we can't handle. Probably gonna feel the wind up on the sill. It's called, was the Windy something?
Yeah.
Windy Hill, I don't know, but I think Northumberland's used to it, and therefore we'll just take it in our stride. Hey, look at this. These massive great oaks growing in the remains of this building. And we have a very worn billboard. Grindon Mile Castle, 34. Again, you can see the depiction. This is what it would have looked like, Valum on the other side. Sort of coming in, making use of the natural crags. Brilliant. I really like the depictions of things. Hiya. Hi. Hi.
We're going the wrong way today.
Apparently so. Okay, apparently we've walked another Roman mile because we have our next turret here. Soldiers' Refuge, the Watchtower.
This and the nearby Cosyke turret were probably abandoned less than a century after they were built, as forts were instead established. Unlike other turrets though, these were used as shielings, a type of herdsman's hut, from which the sowing shield crags above gained their name.
So this is where we start our climb up to the sill. So the sill is a completely natural, incredible feature actually. It just spur jutting out of the ground, and you'll be able to see why the Romans used it as a defensive feature. It's a bit of a feat scaling that, let alone the wall. Look at this, just rolling on along this natural high point. I mean, very, very good defensive position. Just a bit exposed to the weather.
This stretch of wall up on the crags is one of the best to enjoy. However, as we were experiencing, it's also very wild, rugged and exposed, and home to many myths and legends.
It's quite crazy when you think about it, building these forts every Roman mile. It's a lot more time and effort than just the wall alone. I mean, you understand that the wall has to be manned, but these aren't the smallest constructions. I mean, look at the size of this. There's space for multiple buildings. It's a lot of work. So Clayton, who bought all of the land, or much of the land, to protect the wall and its features, tried to rebuild various parts, and this looks like one of the sections, and as you can see, it's very different to the design of the original Roman wall. I mean, it is a wall, but it's sort of more concrete than wall.
The weather was really starting to turn quite nasty, but in some ways it added to the sense of awe and wonder to the majesty of the wall. To have withstood nearly 2,000 years of weathering and erosion, pillaging and destruction, it felt like a miracle that there was anything left to see at all. This stretch of wall was also the narrow section of wall, built atop broader foundations, with a giant drop-off on one side.
Gosh, look at this. What a brilliant viewpoint over the surrounding landscape. And the undulations in the wall there. I mean, it's a shame I can't film it up close right now, but it's just spectacular. It really is like the Great Wall of China, but it's the Great Wall of Northumberland. So the rain's really come in good and proper now, but we've been wondering what this building is in front of us. It's very atrociously loud in its design, and it seems to be essentially size-wise a representation of the wall, but they made it really colourful. It's different, shall we say. I mean, even with the rain coming down, you can see it there. Very, very bright. Imagine if the Romans painted the whole wall like that. Oh, so that was actually a gate. Yeah, you can see the sort of pillar rocks there as well. And I think our path goes on the other side, so we get to go through it. Woo! Through the Roman gate. Really is on the soggier side of things now.
I think it's because I keep holding my hands up like this and the water's
running in. There you go, Anne's got it down her arms, I've got it in my armpits. It's just wet now, really.
We were now walking past the outskirts of Halstead's Roman fort, one of my favourite forts on the walk, though we obviously didn't quite have time to look around the whole thing. This temporary art installation was designed by renowned artist Murray Mayerscough to celebrate the 1900th anniversary of Hadrian's Wall. It stands in the exact spot that the northern gatehouse once stood, echoing the original building in size and shape. I loved it. Proud and striking, bright and imposing on an otherwise rather drab day.
It's definitely a shame the weather is how it is today, because it really does impact your viewing abilities and wanting to stop. And I know there's quite a few inscriptions and things that you can find on the wall, and well, let's just say that's not happening. But still, it's warm enough, we're doing good spirits, and we have dry tents from this morning, so really all is well in our world. Check it out, guys. So this one's got an even more complete arch here at the back end of this turret, and again sort of remains of foundations of the rocks here, different internal walls. Really cool. For me, this definitely is one of the most spectacular parts of the walk. Even with the wind and the rain, there's still so much to see and take in, and whilst various parts of the wall are not actually the wall, they're just designed to keep livestock from falling over the edge. It's just an immense landscape. The sill itself is so domineering in this entire area. It's fascinating, geologically, archaeologically. There's kind of something for everyone here.
Except dry weather for us, it would seem.
So the path sort of goes up and down around the crags here. You can see this is one of the dips, a little bit more sheltered from the wind. There's massive rocks. Definitely particular parts of the route are more phenomenal where they've been able to build than others, and I just find this area so exposed and harsh and vulnerable. To be stationed out here must have been quite tough at times, let alone to be someone who's contributing to the construction of it. Anyway, in other news, we found the Pennine Way, the first national trail to be designated in England and the UK as a whole, actually. Heading off, as per usual, onto the moors.
Anne loved the Pennine Way. For her, this sign was a chance to reminisce about her journey along the trail in 2016. Just between me and you, Anne is actually one of my superheroes. She walks for weeks on end just because she loves it, connecting trails up and down the country and wild camping along the way. There seems to me to be no place Anne has left to walk, and hearing her stories always leaves me feeling completely inspired.
On last Wednesday.
Soon we were looking out over Crag Low, which, if I recall correctly, makes for a rather glistening spectacle in this vast open land.
So one of my favourite things to eat when I'm out hiking on the trail on the go, because usually I don't stop, I just eat on the go, is these guys' outdoor provisions. So they've got nut butter packets like this, and you sort of keep them in your pocket and they get all warm and squishy. This one's almond, date and sea salt, which is definitely one of my favourites. That being said, they've got sort of raspberry and cashew and all sorts of really unique and interesting flavours. And it's a good shot of energy, compostable packaging, and that is what I'm going to eat to get me to the cafe, because this is a bit of a cafe crawl at the end of today's hike. Nom. Feels like Dartmoor all over again.
Oh, that was wet.
That was really wet.
That was wet.
Just over the brow of Steel Rig, we were treated to one of the greatest joys along this stretch of trail.
Oh, this is Sycamore Gap. Here it is, in the storm. Made famous from the Robin Hood films. The sycamore that has survived the ages, just here on the outside or inside of Hadrian's Wall. Such an iconic feature here on this walk. People get very excited when they reach this point, as am I. This is probably one of the most famous trees in the country, and I do have to say, even though I like the story of Robin Hood and all that, it's not like I'm a film fan, but there's something very familiar about reaching this point in the hike. You know, it's on the Pennine Way, it's on the Hadrian's Wall path, and it's just it's very special. Also, trees are great, aren't they? Just every single one completely different. Got to appreciate them for their beauty. It must be quite nice as a tree to be noticed as well. We take them so for granted. Jeez, looks high up, doesn't it?
It was indeed high up, over 300 metres high up in fact, where, once at the top, we were treated to more views and more mile castles.
Even in this weather, it's really rewarding. This one's not so sure. Are you alright? I think it's a bit of perseverance now through this weather. When you're out in the rain all day, it always has a habit of just getting in, no matter how hard you try. Even plastic. I'm starting to worry about my cameras, but we are going to drop off the edge of Steel Rig now, and then it's down away from the actual trail to once Brewed, and we're hoping to camp there. Yes, camp. Because we're mad. Would you agree, Anne? Are we a bit mad? We must be crazy. Where's the log fire and the nice storybook? Just absolutely dripping now. Well, I doubt you can see this because obviously it's quite wide angle, but that's tomorrow's route, and that's the highest point of the trail. It's just over 300 meters, and it's actually in the cloud right now. So we're at the junction point where we're coming off to head towards Once Brewed. No idea about the time, not sure about anything really, Just trying to keep things covered up. But yeah, it's going to be good to start with a warming climb tomorrow morning. Good might be a strong word. Some steeper steps there.
We made a speedy exit off the crag, and then upon joining the main road, saw that the Seal National Landscape Discovery Centre was open. Of course, we just had to duck inside, because there was a sign that said cake.
Fingers crossed. Oh, that's warm. Is that alright? Yes, please. Do you know what? I'm going to keep my wet stuff over here, I think. Save dripping there. Well, we have arrived at the Seal. This is the exhibition centre, and this is also where the Youth Hostel Association is. And I just asked, and they do have a twin room for 29 quid, and camping is £10 a night. So I'm going to see what Anne thinks, and then we'll make a decision. Hello. We made it.
Good news or bad?
Well, first of all, high five for day 3. £29 twin room ensuite.
Oh wow! I'm a member as well, so.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they might give you
more discount. Okay. Well, that's. Would you like to take that? There we go. We're taking that.
Shall I go and sort that?
No, they said they know we're up here. We'll just go around, but we can't book until 4:30.
Okay.
And downstairs.
We'll have to drink tea till.
We have to drink tea. Yeah. So that's us then.
Brilliant.
Done. That's how you work it out. I just had a look at the weather coming down over there.
Been to Broadhaven. Did I go to Manorday? Been to Fortane.
So most of them then. Dankeschön. Oh, it is warm. Jeez. Hey, that'll do us.
Shall I take the top?
I don't mind, whichever you want. And a nice view over the hills we have to climb tomorrow. To finish the day, I thought it'd be quite nice to just show you where we actually are and what a youth hostel looks like on a 1:50 map. It's that little triangle. You can see we're at once brewed, next to twice brewed. There is not a thrice brewed, FYI. So we've walked along steel rig from the right to the left of the screen, and then we've obviously cut down this little sea road to once brewed. And what I can do here on the Hiker app is change the layers, so I drag and drop that. And then we can see what it looks like here as well. And there's a little bed, and then it's actually named Youth Hostel the Seal. I mean, you can see a lot more because you can zoom in. And what's quite cool is you can add and then go points of interest, and we could go hostel campground, for example, close, and then, oh look, there's a hostel here, the Seal. So it's all here. And then there's our campsite. That's where we were going to stay, Windshield's campsite. And it's just a really, really helpful tool for actually planning walks. You know, we can sort of see all the different campsites along the route. So if you're suddenly finding yourself a bit stuck, that's where we're going tomorrow, then, you know, you can find other accommodation. I mean, as you saw on here, there was also B&B shelters. If you scroll down, you know, if you suddenly need a pharmacy or a shop or even water, you can click it all and you can find it all, which is just awesome, actually. What would you rate today out of 10? Ooh. As a walk, 8. Like actual walk? 8. 8's good. That's good. Yeah. Good.
Quite easy walk.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of things to look at.
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much for your input.
And we met the Pennine.
We did. That was, you were just like, the Pennine. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our little hub. It's nice and warm in here. Managed to dry some socks and stuff out. Weather outside is still raining pretty heavily. So for the first time this season, I'm going to actually put my big camera in my rucksack. I just don't want to risk carrying it. It ended up getting quite wet yesterday. Fingers crossed though, later today it can come out, because I don't want to carry it on my back, A, and secondly, just really nice to be able to film things properly, isn't it? But we are just getting packed up. We've had quite a leisurely morning watching the rain, and we'll head on up to the highest point for the trail, in fact, just a wee bit later. Goodbye, dry place.
Dry and warm.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hood up. Day 4! Hadrian's Wall, here we come. Yay!
Yay.
Enthusiasm.
Yay.
It's actually pretty fresh today, to be fair. Good job we've got a nice hill to start with. Oh, hi little Robin. Well, thank you, youth hostel, that was rather pleasant. Thank you for the coffee. The sill, also rather pleasant. Yeah. Let's get cracking. Yeah, we're well fueled and everything, aren't we?
Well fueled and
well rested.
cost a fortune today.
No, it didn't cost an arm and a leg because we'd be going in circles.
Waving goodbye to the sill in the drizzling rain, I had my big camera packed away in my rucksack and was ready for whatever the weather was going to throw at us.
So this is the ridge line we're going to be climbing up to. Doesn't look very scary, does it? And then there's lots of ups and downs today. All the way. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. So check this out, this is where the path comes out and we can see, looking back there, again just along the sill itself, boom, 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 boom. Maybe I'm just quite obsessed with that, but I just think it's incredible. It goes all the way. And then over here, this is our path up into new territory of day 4. Despite the weather, it is still very rewarding to be up here, the view behind, and we're gaining height very quickly to the highest point. Just gotta find that trig point, eh? So windshields, look at that in the snow. So good. Here's the highest point, 345. That's a good number, isn't it? Gotta boom the trig point, boom. Or hug it, that's good, that works. Well done. Hey.
Oh, it's misty.
Yeah, it is. And then views down where we're headed. Not that you can see. Quite a low cloud actually. There's a base of probably just under 400 meters. Just wall stretching on as far as the eye can see. Unofficial, official.
This stretch of trail was relentless in its ups and downs, but given the soggy weather, this proved to be the only way to stay warm, so we didn't mind at all. Just kept on plodding, slow and steady.
So this is Core Gap, another turret to supervise the lands. I think if you're not super interested in archaeology, it does get a little bit repetitive. Well, we are a good few miles in now, according to the signs at least, and we're heading down to Core Quarry, at least I think that's what it's called. I've been buttoned up in my waterproof, but there seems to be public toilets there, so I think we're going to duck in and just get some shelter for a wee while. But potentially this is one of the last stretches of the wall today. Obviously we'll find out the further we go, but it's actually possibly one of my favourite stretches. It's really long, and if I remember rightly from the guidebook, it's about half a mile in length. So there's a lot to see when you're not like this. Oh, look at the size of this one. Big building, dense walls.
This was Mile Castle 42. Apparently, the Romans built an entrance on the northern side of the building, only to realise after it was constructed that it led to a massive drop. Let's be honest, we all have days like that, and it seems that despite conquering half of Europe, the Romans were no exception. A few hundred metres later, and we were at Caulfield's Quarry, a peaceful spot that at night is known as one of the best dark sky stargazing spots in the entire country.
Right, time for a quick stop at the shelter to warm up and defrost, at least in my case. Oh yeah, look, a bit modern, isn't it? Oh, nice. Hashtag grateful. Ooh. The rain is getting heavier and we are hiding in the toilets because we're wusses. This is our new clubhouse. Abbie and Anne's club. Here. Please no. Here we go. Out into the rain. Rain can't hurt you really. Old Town Quarry, 3.5 quarter numbers. Gosh guys, look at this. So we've left the car park, just crossing over the river. Look how high it is. I mean, if that shows we've had rain, I don't know. Crazy. Just working through these fields essentially. Farmland. Got another stretch of wall here, just actually in the backyard of this farm, which is a bit rounder, but there we go. Old and new. Well, we're in a little forest here, or copse of trees. It's actually super nice. Really enjoying the foresty stretches on this walk. They're just sort of, they break it up a bit actually, add a bit of variety to the journey.
Now that I was completely soaked down to my base layers, the rain had decided to change games, from pummel the humans to come and go and catch us if you can. However, the wind was still really icy, and it was at this point that I finally logged the logic of walking the trail the other way round. West to east would instead have seen the prevailing wind pushing us along on our hike, rather than forcing us backwards.
That's my monkey move there. Yeah, I know what you're saying. This is actually a bit taller here, isn't it?
It was around here that we dropped off the trail to Carvoren Museum, hoping for a brief respite from the rain with some indoor shelter.
Beautiful colours of the trees, so spectacular. So this is definitely shut, but is this what we want? That's the question.
13.5 is 18.
Visitor centre shut. I'm just looking at bunkhouses to see if there's anywhere I can call and see if we can stay inside tonight, because that would be great.
Hello?
Hi there, is this Sandy Syke?
Yes,
Do you have space in your bunkhouse tonight?
I'm pretty sure we do, yes.
Because there's two of us, we're hiking the Hadrian's Wall path and we're very, very soggy.
Hang on. My wife's away and I've been left in charge, which is not a good news.
No problem. Right, we've been reassured there is space at the bunkhouse at Sandy Syke, which is fantastic. Well, goodbye visitor centre. Back onto the way. Sunny, not so sunny. Well, we've got some sunshine, even if it's just 2 minutes before the next round hits us. We'll take that. It's like we're on the edge of one side of the world and the other. Light versus darkness. Fire and ice. That is so dark. Well, with the train sounding in the background, there's Thirlmill Castle, ominously backed by the dim sky. That's really cool. Nice to see a castle. Don't remember that either on the route. So much of this I don't remember. It's quite bizarre. Just around the corner, look at this. If that shows the rain that we've been dealing with, I don't know what does. See this? The tree's completely in the water. Wow. Let's go across, eh? Ugh, I wouldn't cross that forward in a vehicle if I were you. Guys, a bit disconcerting. Look at this. Well, we can cross because there's a green light. Do not cross if there's no green light. Love a railway, look at that. That's cool. Not really paddle your feet kind of conditions, is it? Be more like paddle your body if you ended up in that, because it's pretty fast. Best preserved example of a marl castle on Hadrian's Wall. 200 metres with steps. Been there before. It looks like this.
We're in Cumbria.
We're in Cumbria! What? Well spotted! Hey! We made it! Soggy humans have arrived in Cumbria. Very relevant. Good stuff.
Makes the Lake District weather forecast later.
Exactly. Cumbria! And now we have a train. You've got to do it. Are you ready? Choo-choo! Oh, you're a silent electric train, are you? Oh, jeez.
Battery train.
Battery train. Triple A. Oh, it's the village hall on Hadrian's Wall. That's kind of fun to say. The hall on the wall. So I've just found something very, very exciting around the corner, and it's the county council sign for Cumbria. And I basically came through here last year, almost just over a year ago, on my bicycle down this hill, and I got off and I parked it here next to this defib, and I came up to the sign and I go, we've travelled all the way from Scotland to Cumbria, and then I'm here with the Cumbria sign like whoop whoop. And that's so cool because I didn't know I was on the Hadrian's Wall path at that point, but here we are. High five, Cumbria sign. Damn. Here. I feel like this needs to become an annual tradition. Is that weird? That's weird. Welcome to Northumberland, England's border country. So here we're in Cumbria. Here we're in Northumberland. Here we're in Cumbria. I have to get extra steps in. You get the point? Fulfilling. Here. Oh, and we've entered Cumbria and the rain's rejoined us. I thought it was going to be sunny. Said no one ever. Well, we're back on the wall here. Not that we can really see it because we're properly hunkered down right now. But it's there. Hadrian's Wall.
This was actually one of my favourite legs of the wall. Something about the character and remaining height. I'm not too sure. The original wall would have stood around 4.5 metres tall, with the parapet adding an additional 1.5 metres. Here was Mile Castle Turret 48A. There were always 2 turrets between each Mile Castle, so that's 160 turrets and 80 Mile Castles. Oh, and then there were 17 forts as well. It almost felt like the wall was the easy bit to build.
So what we can see here, this is the broad foundations, this is what they laid, this is how much depth they sort of lost when it comes to the wall. And this is the narrow wall that they've built on top of it, clearly to save time and effort and energy. And also I just realised I'm stood on the wall, which isn't great. I didn't mean it was an accident. I was just showing you. I have to say, with stretches of wall like this, where it just goes on and on, it really is quite nice because there's not a lot that gives a sense of scale, other than obviously the fact that we're hiking for 5.5 days. That tells you something. But you know, to see that colourful sort of gateway yesterday and perhaps some of the taller walls today is really nice, because it sort of gives a bit of a feel for perhaps what it would have been like in its immensity, just completely boasting in the intimidation factor towards anyone who wants to try and threaten the Roman army and Roman Empire.
It was so lovely to share this experience with Anne. I even got her doing the odd bit of camera work for me.
although it seemed her sense of direction wasn't always quite on point.
Okay, I'll just keep pointing at you. Which way should it point? I think I am. I thought I was. You handed it to me. It's the best shot ever. Delete.
Look at this river, that is absolutely immense. The power of that water. Jeez. And it's come right up. There's the bridge. Thankfully it's a raised bridge, because we would be quite close to that flow if that was a flat bridge. Wow. Ugh. That's actually rather intimidating. I mean, you know, if I was in a kayak maybe and I knew how to use that kayak whilst whitewater rafting, fun! But I don't, and I haven't got one. This beast of a waterway was the River Irthing, a major tributary for the River Eden, which we'd be picking up around Carlisle on our next day's walk. We are so trusting this bridge. Look at this, folks, actual blue sky. We'll take that, even if it's just 5 minutes. Nice, coming up over the brow. Hey, and there is more section of the wall here. Sometimes it just feels really random in the middle of fields and farmland, but I suppose what's random is the fields and farmland, not the wall. And this was where I stood. Cycled up here, went up there and had a little picture on this corner. Abbie Bikes Britain, from the northernmost point to the southernmost point of the country, via every single national park and the highest point which we hiked up to, all to raise awareness for mental health, getting outdoors, power of community and environmental conservation, giving back to nature and the people around us. 2,000 miles, 55 days, man, what an adventure it was. So cool being stood here. It's really, really nice actually, sort of having the opportunities along this walk to reflect on trips that have passed for Anne, the Pennine Way, and her coast to coast journeys that she's done from north to south. It's quite special, isn't it?
Tis.
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 Tis that.
And on that note, talking of special, we're at Bowness-On-Solway Fort, and that's where we're going to go and get hopefully some takeaway warm things. But first, the priorities in life.
Yep.
So that's the museum. Sadly, no time to go into that right now. And cafe, that's the one we want. Let's see what we can make of it.
Have you eaten the cake?
Yeah, I did.
You ate all of it?
Yeah, I was hungry. What is that? Did you just roll your eyes at me? Did you just roll your eyes?
I just saved.
Was that judgment?
Half of mine. You said you were going to save it.
Well, I was going to save it, and then I have brought it with me. It's just in my tummy.
I would have eaten mine as well.
Well, we have coffee, and I have cake and tea. Well, she has cake, I ate mine. What's the saying? You can't have your cake and eat it. Well, I can.
Oh, we're going to feel chilly now.
Oh yeah, that's cold.
Yeah.
Whew. So leaving Bowness-On-Solway, this wall just goes on and on and on. It sort of deteriorates in its quality and then fizzles out altogether to become a rather quaint English hedge. Wild swim, anyone? We've had enough swimming today, thanks. Look at this, folks. Cameras out. Not that there's loads to film because we've left behind the awesome geographical stuff, but still. The sun is shining on us and it feels very autumnal / spring-like because everything's super green now. Man, what a wild and wet day it's been. Some of those downpours. But yeah, we're just basically following the road now all the way to Walton. We've got a couple of miles where we jack off, but it's good because it means speed walking. We can actually chat rather than being in our little hood bubbles. And well, maybe we'll get there just before it's completely pitch black.
Hope so.
Hope so. See, look at this brightness.
The
Wow, it's beautiful.
When you're driving, it's really difficult.
From this humble country road, we gained our first views over the Pennines and Cumbrian fells. It felt utterly magical to have a moment of sunshine, and we soaked it up like lizards. A bit further on, and we reached yet more turrets. Piper Syke 51A, Turret 51B, and Banks East Turret 52A. For me, it was really starting to feel far too much like a maths lesson.
Honesty snack shed. What have we got here? Everything £1, but where is it? Oh, this looks promising. Honesty snack shed. Oh, what this tea here, Anne? Look at this. Wow, that's a good find. Cheerios! Some flapjacks, Apfels, Wasser, Another part of the wall here, able to see out, again, extremely amazing vantage point over Cumbria. Less so this way, but still, no one's going to bother. This is Banks here, sort of collection of houses. Walton, 3 1/4. Look at this sky. It has just been one incredible picture during this walk. When we've been out to see it, it's definitely showing off. Just rain pouring down over there. In fact, there's an entire wall here. And yes, it is coming towards us, but it's so beautiful. That is the power of nature right there. I don't like that that's getting close now. Well, the weather caught us. Camera is away. It was out for 20 minutes. What is this, Anne?
For a bit, and then it's going to stop.
Yeah, I think we should keep moving though.
Keep moving.
None of us move. Come on. We can do it. It's dry over there. Just one of those days, really. Another really high river here. It's just absurd how much rain is falling over these last couple of days. Look at that. Just all muddied and full of silt. Jeez. We just survived. These are the rewards of rainy days. Rainbows. So we are on the last 1.5 miles to Walton. We've just decided to follow the road because it's a bit quicker. Actually it's probably 2 miles because we've just got to get to the campsite slash bunkhouse place where we're hoping we can hustle in and dry things out. But what a fantastic way to conclude today's walk. A bit of sunshine and some really, quite frankly, stunning skies. Walton! Happy days. Good stuff. So before it gets dark, we have arrived at Walton. So there's Florries on the Wall here, which is an independent hostel, and we're heading to Sandy Sykes. They've got a little bunkhouse and campsite, and we'll figure out the situation when we get there. This is us, Sandy Sykes bunkhouse and camping, so I'm presuming we just go through here and head up the drive. What do you think? So we've done pretty well. We're almost out of daylight and we've arrived, so that's quite fulfilling despite the challenges that we've had today with the weather. And definitely a bit of a mojo drop for me at one point. We've made it. Sandy Sykes bunkhouse, here we go. Look at this. Jeez, that's flooded. Hiya.
Hiya.
How are we doing?
So heating's on constant.
Oh,
So
bro.
I assumed you'd have things you wanted to dry out.
Yeah. Okay, ideal. Cool. Thank you. Oh, that's toasty. Look at that.
Glasses are stinging.
Day 4. Boom. Done. Let's get these stinky things off. Boom, boom. It's welded to my foot. Mmm, tasty. This is my delicacy for tonight. Smash and cheese. That's how you know you're backpacking. There's nothing to chew. Full on baby food. Home sweet home. Look when your sock stands up on its side. That is so disgusting. So this is where we stayed. We arrived in darkness under the cover of night. And this is the little bunkhouse area. There's definitely a good cozy little hub. And coming out, we've got a bit of a breeze today. Sun's coming up over there. Looks a bit wet. Let's see how we go today. Moo. So yeah, I speak cow. I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. Day 5. Here we go. I'll tell you what, that bunkhouse was gold dust. Just being able to dry things out after these 2 soggy days that we've had, it's such a nice experience. And there's definitely a time for like roughing it, and then there's a time for actually choosing to enjoy something. So yeah, hopefully it'll stay dry today, and it's just really nice starting with crispy clothes as opposed to squeeze-outable clothes. Bit of a squeeze through here. Oh, what? Morning. Yeah. And then heading over the bridge that was built for the hikers in 2003. You can definitely see the water level has dropped a little bit. You can tell by the combed back grass where the level was yesterday. So that island definitely was covered, the banks here. We're good. That's dropped quite a bit. This is someone's compost heap and there were tomatoes on it. That's my standards. Basically I took these out of the rubbish. Nice free food. Maybe they're actually like explosive tomatoes. It's like a break-in. Squeeze! Whew. Good job, I didn't eat too much last night.
We've had a thing recently with
the snack shed. There's a hiker outside, which always bodes well. What is it? Shall we go have a look? Walk is welcome, dawn till dusk. Morning. All right. Yeah, good. You? Good. This looks fun. Jeez, have they got enough stuff? Wow. I mean, there's everything you could ever want in here. Is that popcorn? Do they have popcorn? No, never mind. It's definitely nice finding these honesty sheds because, I don't know, it makes you feel very welcome as a hiker. secure in your journey, like you're not being a pest, because it's quite easy in various places to feel like you're not welcome as a hiker. She's full on like burgers, that's mad, that is. They've even got hiking trousers as emergencies. Brilliant.
I'm heading.
There's a big old barn over there, and we can sort of see it's just looking a little bit more industrial as we're walking, heading on towards the outskirts of Carlisle. Watch your head.
You want a hook
No.
to drag it down.
I'm gonna bruise it. Oh, but it's so nice. What this sign is essentially saying is don't squat down for a week because someone might have a camera there. Reality is a farmland walking.
Muddy stretches like this can be a little bit annoying as a hiker, but I always take the opportunity to look closer, and here I managed to spot some footprints from badgers.
So I see the vallum again here, very prominent, drop down, back up, and essentially we're walking on the wall now through this field and all these other fields as well. Crosby-on-Edon, that's our next destination. Heading up to cross over the A6, 8-9, there you go. So many conkers.
The route was a bit of a maze of fields and settlements. Old Wall, Crosby, Low Crosby, Lindstock. We just followed the signs and kept on walking, making the most of the dry spell of weather.
Here it is! We found the River Edon! Happy days! That's quite a milestone on our hike. It does look quite full actually.
The Edon rises between Cumbria and North Yorkshire as Redgill Beck, then travelling for 90 miles to the Solway Firth. Along the way, it's joined by the River Irthing, Beaumont, Caldew and others, creating a force to be reckoned with by the time it reaches the coast.
Lots of Himalayan balsam growing around here, an invasive species. Smells nice though. Look at this! 2¼ miles to go to Carlisle. Well, that's rather good. We can do that. Carlisle marks 11½ miles in for us today, quite exactly apparently. Leaving sort of 7 miles or so for the second half of the day. Our plan is to just pop in, find coffee and tea naturally, and a couple of snacks for the remainder of our trip. And it's a bit odd really because we're so close to Bowness-On-Solway now, but just not quite close enough to bang it all out today. You know, it's just with the daylight and everything. Maybe in the summer we might have done, but it's quite nice having a shorter day ahead of us tomorrow. It made today feel a bit less intimidating. You can probably hear the road noise in the background. Yeah. It's not too far away. Well, here it is. This is the M6, and it's rather loud this morning. He waved, he waved. Yeah. Go, we're gonna try these ones. Yay! Are we childish? Maybe. Good old M6, right?
Next up, it was on along the cycle path to Rickaby, where a folly tower sits rather peculiarly and alone in a field, likely built in 1865 in the grounds of the old Rickaby house.
Trout.
Oh wow.
So this is Rickaby Park now, just on the outskirts of Carlisle. We are getting there.
This park has been open to the public since the 1920s, and from our footpath we could see a monument dedicated to the remembrance of those who fell in the Great War.
Oh, the ears. So, crossing over the Eden now, which is kind of cool. Definitely appreciating the artwork on these gates. This fantastic metal bridge here. Back onto the whole bridge thing again. It's really not a problem, honestly. 1922. It's so beautiful in the sunshine. It's windy today, but just stunning.
The bridge is officially called the Memorial Bridge, after the monument and the park itself, though is known locally as the Suspension Bridge. It was a beautiful and peaceful spot. Surprising, really, since we were right next to a bustling city.
Well, we've been walking through the country park and have decided this is where we're going to cut into Carlisle, I think. Is that agreed? Yeah. And go to find a store and so, and then sort of cut back to the river because we've got plenty more river later. So that's us. Let's go.
For me, it was actually a rather daunting perspective that we were going to walk into the city, but the calling of a brew encouraged me to push through, and the option for a resupply, aka getting some food, was the strongest motivator of all. I love food.
Well, this is different from everything we've seen so far. I think we go right here. I know.
Carlisle is actually a rather spacious city that openly celebrates its connection to the Wall and the Hadrian's Wall hike. Something that made us feel just that little bit more comfortable yomping around with our massive backpacks.
This is Carlisle.
You remember when they said if you cut your energy use?
Here she comes. This is the high life. Thank you very much. Right, so we've had tea, we've had coffee, we've had some food and a whistle-stop tour of Carlisle, and now we're just heading back down to the river to rejoin the way. I think for both of us, but I can definitely speak for myself, it's like a sensory overload. Quite ready to be back in nature and really looking forward to more river walking. Look at the size of these willow trees, absolutely massive. Some really nice trees around here, leaving the noise of the city behind.
We were now in Butts Park, a haven of ancient trees and open spaces, only 800 metres away from the city centre. There was plenty within the park to keep us engaged, such as this sign detailing about the original fort in Carlisle. Then, before long, we were back on the banks of the River Eden, where we spotted a heron fishing for a late lunch.
I don't know if you can see, but the river is down there, and whilst we've been following its course, we're near the end of it now, but we haven't been able to see it too much, just working our way up and down through the woods. But it's really pleasant walking. It didn't take it too long to leave behind the city of Carlisle, not like the first day with Newcastle that took the whole day to escape the conurbation. It's just been overall a very pleasant, easy day. No complaints here. This whole riverbed is jammed full of forget-me-nots. Just these blue flowers. It's the same on the other side. Got the Himalayan balsam there, and then coming down, boom. It's October. It's quite cool. Wow. That's a lot of shroomage.
I'm surprised the Heddon Way one's haven't been correct.
Use the style, not the gate. No, joke. Ah! I'm stuck. It's quite narrow. I can't get through. No, I can do it. I will persevere. Are you sure? No. Why can't we use the gate? What's the problem?
I don't know. They think we've got the cow down, which aren't here.
Jeez.
Let's climb into this.
It is. Whatever that is. Oh, that's exhausting.
The route felt pretty random and just endlessly headed west, with very little evidence that the wall ever existed here.
Okay,
Excuse me.
out we go.
This one's like, what? Oh, it's okay now. Quite a few muddy stretches around here, which require elegance and precision and fearlessness. Boom, boom. Look at that. Graceful as an elk. And a short while further on, yes, we've got diversion due to a landslide here along the river. So actually, we just follow the road into Beaumont now.
Okay.
Oh, we don't get the last bit of river.
See St Anne's Well.
That's sad. So first signs to Bowness, even though it's the road, 9 miles. That's rather cool. So this is the beginning of Beaumont, which is where we're staying tonight. And Anne's theory has proved correct that every day finishes on a hill. Let's get it done.
Beaumont on St Mary's Church sits atop the beautiful mountain, which gives the village its name. Unsurprisingly, the church is largely built using stones from the wall, and yet is actually the only church on the entire route that sits directly on the line of the wall. After a quick look around, it was a short walk down the road to our campsite.
This looks like us, Roman wall lodges, cabins and campsite. So we were told that this campsite flooded yesterday, but it seems to be okay right now. Hello! Weather looks nice, doesn't it? Well, that's us. Tents are up and we are settled in. The winds are really quite strong actually, so we're sheltered behind the huts. There's no big deal. We're both very happy to be in our tents, and we've just been reflecting. You know, we've been on the go for 3 weeks in total with our own respective adventures, and then coming down to finish on the Hadrian's-Wall path for me for the season as my last long distance hike. And how much we're going to actually miss this. Like, even though we've had the 2 really wet days in the rain, like finding the bunkhouses and all the little golden nuggets that you're served every day, from the light in the sky to the smiles, just the funny things that happen, whether you're alone or with somebody else. Like, this is such a special thing to be able to just be out here, connected with nature, in the seasons, in the elements, and just so grounded. And life is so simple, even though it feels very intense. Intense. Morning everybody. We made it inside the shelter. And we're just looking at a map whilst drinking tea and coffee. Well, I'm drinking coffee. Today looks pretty much like a road day or a lane day, which is great because it's pretty torrential out there. We will just amble along at a steady pace and attempt to communicate. You know what we should do? I have an idea. When we're in our hoods, right, we should get 2 cans and have a little can with some string attached, so then we can talk.
We have to keep it taut though.
And we do have to keep it taut, yeah. Well, if their car wants to come past, sucks to be them.
Yeah, not far. When I looked on the map, it just...
Burr Village, 287 yards. That's so specific. Which is through the gate. Are we going through the gate or on the road?
Let's go through the gate.
Through the gate, okay. It is a bit of a busy road. And thankfully this farmer has been very considerate and not made us walk through that, because that was yesterday's journey. And we have our own little dedicated section here. "287 yards later." Oh, 150 yards now. Hang on, I miscounted.
Yards later, and we made it to Bruff-by-Sands, where we just had to check out the 13th century St Michael's Church. Again, its walls largely being made from stone from Hadrian's Wall, and it sits on the site that was once a Roman fort.
18, look at that, 1709. Wow. Ugh.
It was a fascinating place. The builders clearly weren't too bothered which rocks they used, as near the altar is a stone with the face of a pagan god, meaning that when the faithful face the altar, they are also bowing to a pagan god.
What's in here then? Oh, it's a wee little museum thing.
Oh wow.
That's a bit cute.
At the back end of the building was a mini museum, but most interestingly of all, a fine collection of carvings etched into the stone, which really got my imagination flowing.
Where you've just come through.
Leaving the church behind, we next passed a monument to Edward I, marking the spot where the so-called Hammer of the Scots died of dysentery whilst waiting to cross the Solway Firth on the 7th of July 1307. He is now buried in Westminster Abbey.
Road liable to tidal flooding. I think it's liable to any kind of flooding on a day like today. So we have this billboard here. This is where we've just passed through. Essentially, we're just going to follow the coast along this road. There's a little lane then. It goes all the way to Bowness-On-Solway, which is here. And you can see sort of these areas of tide, including this road, is definitely at risk of tidal flooding. So we've got the Solway Firth, of course, the Solway coast. Oh, here's it in much bigger. And this is where the Eden goes out into the sea. And looking ahead past the noisy cattle grid, look at that, we've actually got clear skies. So I'm going to get my house out in a shape of optimism and hope that it can stay out. And my camera, I think, it's got to be done, because carrying it's hard work. It gets so squashed in my bag. There we go. A big open space now, and this is what's going to take us to the end.
Cheeses for you.
You are too?
Yeah.
Jeez.
We're going to have a cheese
We're trading
fest.
here, like.
We're having a cheese fest.
Take an oat cake. Oh. Laugh on the trail. This is what you do when you're walking to the Solway Firth. It's just to bring together Scotland and England. Scottish oatcakes and English cheese.
Mm-hmm.
We are the peacekeepers of the land. Modern day warriors.
It was heavenly now that the sun had come out, and our spirits soared as we looked north towards Scotland and west towards our journey's end. The miles were passing quickly here, along the road and dike that ran alongside, though we were reminded why there was a dike there in the first place by the flood signs that we passed every 100 metres or so. The Solway Firth comprises part of the Irish Sea, and the coastline is characterised by low hills and small mountains. It was rural, with only small villages and settlements, and very exposed to tidal flooding. However, it's these floods that make this place an area of outstanding natural beauty, with the salt and mud flats attracting a huge amount of marine life.
Here we are, we've reached Drumburg, one of the many settlements along this stretch of coast. Kind of makes me want to drum it. That firm's called Drumburg Castle.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, it's a rather large building. We have opted to stay on the road for ease of walking, and it's so nice because we're super close to the water here, and just the views and everything is just amounting to make this really quite a special section. And it's nice because whilst they're really hard to film, there's egrets, there's curlews, there's lapwings, there's loads of different bird life flying around, and this area is in many ways a triple SI, an area of outstanding natural beauty. There's loads of different environmental designations protecting it for its flora and fauna. So here we are going to rejoin the footpath and actually follow it this time. Have a short stretch off the road. Let's see how we go. Got all the autumnal berries filling the hedgerows, the rosehip. There have been hawthorn and holly. Port Carlisle, constructed to improve transport links between Carlisle and the Solway coast. The Carlisle Ship Canal turned what was once a scattering of houses into a thriving village. Wow. So we're here on the quay, looking out over the outer dock. That's what that rock collection is. Kirkland Scar, the bank here, Hadrian's Wall National Shield, it says.
With less than a mile to go now, this stretch along the water's edge was to be savoured. We couldn't believe our luck with the weather, and as shadows stretched out before us, we were reminded that no storm in life can last forever. And too, of the soldiers and civilians that once roamed these lands, far away from home, with their stories now left behind on billboards and within guidebooks. We knew that one day we also would only be shadows of the past, and so resolved there and then to never stop exploring, sleeping under the stars, eating good food, laughing and seeing the beauty of every experience we were gifted.
I can see a sign, Bowness-On-Solway. It is happening. Look at this sign, to finish at the banks. 130 yards to go. Here we go. Oh, that brings back memories. Here it is. Welcome to the end of Hadrian's Wall path. We've done it. 84 miles in 5 days. What an adventure it has been.
Good.
We've had some weather.
We have.
We have weathered the weather.
We have had weather.
And this spot is so beautiful. It's been a really nice walk today
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
It's been really a lot better than they said it would be.
A lot better,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a really special spot here, ending on the Solway Firth, and having travelled another coast to coast, and this time together.
Yeah.
How would you summarise this walk in one word?
This is brilliant.
Brilliant. Look
Brilliant
at that,
walk.
love it. The middle section, that Pennine Way stretch, is definitely the more challenging bit.
Yeah.
But I think this walk is just a fantastic opportunity for anyone who wants to get into hiking. There's so much to see along the way. There's lots of flatter, level parts, and there's enough challenge to keep it stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you can camp it, you can B&B it. There's so many different options. And of course, you can plan that through the Hiker app, which you can download. There's Hiker with 2 eyes, and plot your route. See where there's campsites, see where there's bunkhouses, see where there's historical sites to go and visit. Everything is on there. You can choose your map that you want to navigate by, and it's a really good safety feature to have in your pocket as well, that GPS, so you can always stay located. Never ever a substitute for good old pap and paper, map and paper. Well, a paper map with a compass. That's going to be always the solution, but it's really good. And I'm going to get Anne to download it now. We're going to go and get a cup of tea and plan future adventures, because there are so many trails on there. The Hiker app it is. But anyway, good trip. Thank you for accompanying this journey.
Thank you for having me.
You have been a good hiking partner.
And so have you.
She's kept my morale up when I've just been miserable in the rain. So
It's been wet.
yeah, we've come through a lot, which actually makes it even more rewarding here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Nice the sun shines now.
exactly. What a way to finish.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this experience from the comfort of your living room in a nice comfortable chair with a cup of tea whilst we've been out in the rain. Exactly, without a cup of tea. Never mind the rain, as Anne's saddest part. But we made it, and really appreciate you guys sticking along for the journey. Hopefully this has inspired you to get out, if not on the Hadrian's Wall path, then any other trail, because there's so much big wide world to explore. Get your boots on, get your rucksack, doesn't have to be as big and heavy as ours, and go and have an adventure. Until next time, stay wild. See you soon. Bye.
Standing there looking out over the Solway Firth in Scotland felt phenomenal. Life is only a reflection of what we allow ourselves to see. And on this walk, we had seen more than just a few stones piled up across the country. We had seen thousands of years of history play out, and our lives play forward. We knew we now had our chance to influence the story by committing to the way of the trail. That meant never being ashamed of the scars left behind by life, refusing to back down when the storms rage, and being brave enough to share openly, laugh often, trust, care, and of course, to take the time often to enjoy a brew with those you love.